So I know it may not seem like it, but I think PlayStation fanboys actually have something wrong with their brain. I think PlayStation fanboys are actually mentally ill. Anyone else on, the internet who talks about PlayStation fanboys, they'll just throw the casual jokes, throw all that crap stuff, but what these people don't realize is PlayStation fanboys have more than something wrong with them besides just being stupid. It's more than that. Because if you really look at the behavior and mindsets of these people, you realize something. Their behavior is very troubling. Like the fact that you have grown men out here arguing with people over a piece of plastic, a console, something that is meant to bring enjoyment and fun into a person's life, video games, and yet you have people arguing like children. Like, I'm only 16 and I'm more mature than these idiots. And this is also why I believe that console fanboys in general are mentally ill because, let's be honest, normal people wouldn't act like this. Normal people would not act like this because they would realize that the consoles that they are fighting about, they would realize that these consoles literally have the same purpose and are made to do the same things for everyone, whether it's an Xbox or a PlayStation. These people wouldn't be out here fighting over which one is better when they're literally both the same. Yeah, Xbox and PlayStation have their benefits, and even I know that, but there's no reason to fight about it. Which is why I believe that there is a mental illness called console fanboy disorder. And this mental illness can be blamed for console fanboys in general. These people clearly have something wrong with them because normal people just wouldn't act like that. But of course, PlayStation fanboys are much more afflicted by this mental illness than any of the other fanboys out there. And in this video, we are going to be explaining why. PlayStation fanboys don't even understand what's actually good and what's actually bad anymore. That part of their brain, that the part of their brain where they sense logic or facts, that part of their brain no longer works. PlayStation fanboys can no longer actually understand what is fact, and their logic is completely gone. Maybe not completely. Some PlayStation fanboys are not as far gone as others, but trust me, it'll get there. Because console fanboy disorder is a fast acting mental illness. Once you are diagnosed with this mental illness, I highly recommend you get as much help as you need. And that's the sad part. Console fanboys are constantly just being ignored by people who just assume that they're being stupid. But that's the thing. They're not just being stupid. These people need help. Console fanboys need actual help. You see, the thing about people these days is, well, maybe not these days, but just something that I believe a normal person has the ability to do is when someone acts stupid, there is a part of their brain that makes them realize that what they did or what they are doing or what they are thinking, their mindset is not normal. And they realize that being stupid is not going to get them anywhere. And they stop. They think to themselves, well, okay, you know what? This is just stupid. I'm going to stop. This doesn't make any sense. Like, why am I doing this? When people act stupid, there's a part of their brain that makes them realize that the thing that they're doing has no value and it is not going to serve them well in any way. So they stop being stupid. But console fanboys continue to mentally regress every day, which is why they have a mental illness. It is a disorder. And that's the thing about PlayStation fanboys. The part of their brain that lets them determine what is logic and what is fact, it's gone. It no longer works properly. This is why you see some PlayStation fanboys going around just saying that Xbox is trash. If what you are saying, like the words, like if the words you are saying has no actual fact or truth behind it, then that's all it really is, a word. And if words don't have fact, meaning, or actual real logic behind them, you're literally just talking out of your ass. Like these fanboys, these PlayStation fanboys, they go on the internet, Twitter, YouTube, whatever, they go around saying that Xbox is trash. And when you ask them why, when you ask them to give a reason why they're calling a good console trash, they can't even actually give a valid response. And this goes back to console fanboy disorder. The thing about this disorder is it heavily affects that part of the brain that lets a person determine what is fact, what is logic, and what is good and what is bad. This is why PlayStation fanboys talk out of their ass all the time. This is why they can actually go around and call something trash without any actual reason or any actual true facts behind it. Never listen to a PlayStation fanboy, because let me tell you something. You will be listening to nothing but excuses or complete stupidity for the reminder of that time, because that's all a PlayStation fanboy has. Because that part of their brain that lets them actually realize what is fact and what is not, it's gone. That part of their brain no longer works properly. So that's why you see some PlayStation fanboys who walk around and call Xbox trash. But like I said, if your words have no truth, no facts, or logic behind the words that you are using, then your words have absolutely no purpose if there's no truth or facts behind them. And that's why you see these dumbass PlayStation fanboys who could walk around and say, Xbox is trash. And then you ask them why, like, what's your reason? I dare any of you dumbass PlayStation fanboys to give me an actual reason why Xbox is trash. But you know what? You don't have to, because I'll give you one myself. Since I actually have an Xbox, and since I am not an Xbox fanboy, I will give you some actual good reasons why Xbox is trash. The enforcement system, it fucking sucks. Xbox enforcement is a joke. Second reason, Xbox has no games. Xbox Game Studios does not know how to make good games, which is why they have Bethesda and Activision. There's actual good reasons why Xbox does kind of suck. And this leads me to my second point, the excuses. Everything Xbox does is bad to a PlayStation fanboy. And again, this goes back to the fact that the part of a PlayStation fanboy's brain that lets them determine what is good and what is bad, it no longer works. That part of their brain that lets them determine something that is good and something that is bad, it no longer works properly. Because literally, everything Xbox does is bad to a PlayStation fanboy. And I mean everything. From Xbox's games to whatever features they have, they could do something for Xbox right now. They could make a small feature for Xbox right now. They could just make some small tiny ass feature for Xbox, and PlayStation fanboys will probably say it's garbage, even though they don't even have Xbox in the first place. How can you call something trash when you don't even actually have the product yourself? Xbox can make a game right now. They could have a game coming out right now. They could have a new exclusive game coming out right now. And PlayStation fanboys will say it's garbage. And you know what? They're already doing that. They are already doing that. Any game that is exclusive to Xbox, PlayStation fanboys will say it's a bad game, even though they haven't even played it themselves. They're pretty much saying the game is garbage just because it's on Xbox, even though they haven't even played the game themselves. And this, of course, goes back to the mental illness that PlayStation fanboys have. That is the thing about console fanboy disorder. It heavily affects the brain, or the part of the brain that lets a person determine what is good and what is bad. And not only that, but another part of console fanboy disorder, and you know, this is pretty obvious, but it gives these people this role that they have to protect the console that they prefer, right? And you know, there's nothing wrong with having a console that you actually prefer, right? That's something normal people have. But what console fanboy disorder does is it gives the person the idea that if they like a certain console, then everything about another console that is similar to the console that they like, it must be inferior. It must be complete trash compared to the console that they prefer. And of course, that's not normal. That's not normal. No normal person would have that type of thought process, that type of mindset. That's like someone having a certain car that they like. Like that's like someone like having a race car or something, or just a random ass car and thinking that every other car on the street must be inferior compared to the car that I'm driving. That's not normal. That is literally not normal. And this is also why PlayStation fanboys are mentally ill. It heavily affects some very important aspects of their brain. They cannot determine what is actual fact and what is actually not fact, and they cannot determine what is actual real logic. And they also can't determine what is good or what is bad anymore. PlayStation fanboys don't even understand what's good, what's bad, what's right, or what's wrong. Which is why PlayStation fanboys do things that are wrong. They're addicted to negativity. They run around out here calling Xbox and PC and every other console under the fucking sun trash just because they prefer PlayStation. That's not normal. That's literally not normal. And here's another thing. Back to the point of PlayStation fanboys calling everything Xbox does is bad. Literally, everything, and I mean everything Xbox does is bad. Like, how do you call a game trash for being on a platform? Like, how do you call a game garbage just because it's not on PlayStation? Just because it's on the console you hate? And not only that, but there's no even actual good reasons to hate Xbox for these PlayStation fanboys. I could see if you don't like Xbox, but these people probably never even played an Xbox in their life. They hate it for literally no reason. And again, this is part of the symptoms of console fanboy disorder. It gives these people the idea that they should hate on every other console just because they prefer a certain console, which in this case is of course PlayStation. But there's no reasons for these people to hate Xbox and PC and all the other consoles just because they prefer PlayStation. That's not normal. That's not normal. And another thing about the whole fact thing, they will call Xbox exclusives or just Xbox games in general trash, even if everyone else likes them. And this is where the excuses comes in. PlayStation fanboys are known for their excuses. To try and prove the fact that every game that comes out on Xbox is trash, they will criticize that game so much. They won't even look at what that game actually does well because, of course, they're calling it trash. So obviously, they're not going to look at what the game does right. They're only going to look at that game's negatives. They're only going to look at the things that that game did not do right. And of course, this is part of the excuse trend. PlayStation fanboys have nothing but excuses because they don't even have any actual fact to give. Because they don't even know what fact is because that part of their brain is fried because it's been destroyed by the mental illness that they have. So of course excuses is all they have left. We're going to use any example for this one. Xbox could have a new game come out tomorrow, right? It could be a brand new Xbox exclusive. It could be a good game, it may be a bad game. If it's a bad game, then they'll just say it's trash like usual. But even if it's a good game, they'll still say it's trash. And this goes back to the fact that PlayStation fanboys cannot determine what is right and what is wrong. Because even if the game is actually good, they will still say it is trash, and they will do this by making excuses. They will only look at what the game done wrong. They will only look at the game's shortcomings instead of what the game actually did good. Because if they admit what the game actually does good, then obviously their points about the game being bad would no longer make sense, and then how are they supposed to convince people? And not only that, but why do PlayStation fanboys even try and even talk to normal people when we don't even want to listen to you? And again, the mental illness that they have, it's not like OCD or ADHD. The mental illness that they have turns these people into degenerates, and that's why console fanboy disorder is one of the scariest mental illnesses, because it makes a person addicted to negativity, and it also changes a person from being normal to being a person who can't even understand fact anymore. That literally means that PlayStation fanboys need help. Like, these people are essentially not normal. And I know I'm sitting here trashing these people and, calling them idiots, but honestly, these people need help. It's actually kind of sad. PlayStation fanboys can't even enjoy the games from the console that they love so much because they're too busy shitting on Xbox for literally no reason at all. Like, PlayStation fanboys can't even enjoy the console that they prefer. They can't even enjoy playing Sony's exclusives, which they claim are so good. Like, they can't even play them because they're too busy shitting on Xbox for no reason. But back to the point I said. Xbox could have a brand new exclusive game come out right now. If it's a bad game, then yes, they're gonna say it's bad. But hey, obviously, if a game is bad, then no one's gonna like it. That's a normal thing. But even if it's actually a good game, an actual good game that people like, they will still say it's trash, and they will do this by making excuses. Since PlayStation fanboys can no longer actually make factual criticisms, criticisms that actually have fact in them, this is why they could only use excuses. They will look at the game that is apparently trash to them. They will say it's trash, and they will only say it's trash by looking at its shortcomings. And yes, obviously every game is going to have shortcomings. But if you called a game trash just because of its shortcomings, then every game in the world would be trash. No game is perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect game. So the fact that PlayStation fanboys will call an Xbox exclusive game trash just because of a few shortcomings that are overshadowed by the game actually being good, this is of course an excuse. And that's part of the mental disorder that PlayStation fanboys have. Since they cannot make actual, factual criticisms, they could only use excuses. This is why every Xbox exclusive game that comes out that actually might be good, PlayStation fanboys will still say it's trash. And you know what? The reason for it is so pathetic. Like, the fact that these people are going around calling a console and its games trash for literally no actual good reason. And this is why PlayStation fanboys are simply not normal, because there's no actual reason for them to go out and act like this. If you don't like a game, that is completely fine. That's called having an opinion. But when you call every game trash simply because of the reason that it is on a console that you do not like, that is not normal. That is ignorant, and it is fucking stupid. But in this case, it's not them being stupid, it's them being mentally ill, because that's what this mental disorder does to these people. And the thing that's even worse is it's not even just games. The fact that PlayStation fanboys will literally criticize everything Xbox does. Another good example of this would be Game Pass, of course. And this is one of the cheapest excuses I have seen. I understand that you people are not really well in the head, but at least make up a better excuse than this. PlayStation fanboys call Game Pass trash because it's too cheap. Literally, that's your excuse? Besides the excuse with the exclusive games, calling Xbox exclusive games trash by only looking at its shortcomings. And another thing about that, like I said earlier, if you criticize a game and call it trash just because it has shortcomings, then every game would be trash. No game is perfect. This is what makes a good game. If the game has actual good things about it that overshadow its shortcomings and the things that it didn't manage to do well, if a game manages to do well enough over the things that managed to not do well, that is still a good game. But to a PlayStation fanboy, every game from Xbox is trash, and they will only call it trash only because of its shortcomings. They can never actually admit what that game does well, because then the criticisms that they have for that game wouldn't make sense anymore, because a good game, the good things about a game will overshadow its shortcomings. That's the thing about a good game. And then, of course, you have the criticisms of Game Pass. Like, that's your excuse for calling Game Pass trash. It has too much value. It's too cheap. And again, this goes back to the mental disorder that PlayStation fanboys have. They cannot determine what is good and what is bad. And since console fanboy disorder also gives these fanboys the idea that every other console is trash, this feeds the other part of the mental disorder where they can't determine what is good and what is bad. Because obviously, a normal person would see that Xbox Game Pass is good, but to a PlayStation fanboy, it's not. Because, of course, console fanboy disorder gives these people the idea that only their preferred console is good and the other is bad. And since this mental disorder also basically fries a person's brain ability that lets them determine what is good and what is bad, they cannot see that Game Pass is actually good, which is why they delusionally say it sucks and why they make these cheap ass excuses. No one would make an excuse as stupid as something having too much value. How could you not want value? Value is something that is good, which proves my fact and my point that this disorder basically takes away a person's ability to determine what is good and what is bad. It's the same case for a PlayStation fanboy saying that every Xbox exclusive is bad, even if it's actually not. Because if they were normal, they would see that it's actually a good game. But since they're being a PlayStation fanboy, but in this case, since they have console fanboy disorder, and let's talk about console fanboy disorder for a minute. This is a very serious matter. See, all these other YouTubers like Griffin Gaming and, this other dude who's like Griffin Gaming, they make fun of PlayStation fanboys, but at least I actually see that what they have, the problem that they have, is actually something that's really sad. These people need help. They need desperate help. Like, these people must be so sad. They can't even enjoy the console that they're fighting for over. They can't even enjoy PlayStation in the first place because this mental disorder is forcing them to hate on Xbox. PlayStation fanboys probably spend more time on the internet just waiting for an Xbox exclusive to come out so they could hate on it. It's fucking sad, man. It's actually sad. I don't make fun of PlayStation fanboys anymore. I pity and hate them, but also feel bad for them at the same time. Again, back to my point now. Another example of this, of, these people using excuses is PlayStation fanboys can have a game that they like, right? Like, let's say it's like, I don't know, GTA 5 or something. If GTA 5 was probably on Game Pass, they would not like that. They would not like a game that they like to be on Game Pass. They do not want their favorite games on Game Pass because, like I said earlier, everything about Xbox is bad. Game Pass is bad. Their exclusives are bad. Even if they're actually good exclusives, still bad. Like, that doesn't make sense. It is not normal. It's not normal. Like, these people's mindset is not normal. These people in general are not normal. If this hasn't convinced you that these people are more than just stupid, I don't know what will. These people are not normal. I don't know what else to say. I honestly don't know what else to say, other than the fact that this is honestly just sad. This is honestly just sad. Besides the excuses, and another thing, these people don't even need to do this. That's the thing. They act like Sony is paying them to trash Xbox even though they're not. If Sony and Microsoft are not fighting, then why are you guys? What's the fucking point? Console fanboys are not normal, which is why I have realized after now that it is not just people being fanboys, they're sick. They have a mental illness, and that means they are sick and they need help. They need help. I mean, think about this. Sony fanboys, PlayStation fanboys, they praise everything PlayStation does and hate on everything Xbox does. It sounds like a joke, but the fact that it's not is proof that these people are more than just being stupid. They need help because they are not normal. Honestly, there's not any more I could say about this other than the fact that PlayStation fanboys are mentally ill. Because, again, they don't understand what is fact. They don't understand what is logic, and they cannot determine what is right and what is wrong anymore because this mental illness has completely fried that part of their brain. That's why PlayStation fanboys can only see Xbox exclusives for its shortcomings, and that's why they make the excuse about Game Pass that it's too cheap, and it's too cheap and all that crap, and it's just or it's just trash. Because this disorder causes console fanboys to hate on everything the console that they hate for no reason does. That's the thing about this mental illness, and it's honestly sad. It's honestly really sad. I mean, if I had this mental illness, I mean, I already have ADHD, but if I had this mental illness, man, I would be a lot more miserable than I already am, honestly. I mean, you don't see me acting like Xbox is the best console ever. I already said it earlier in this video. I already said what is actually bad about Xbox. And like I said about games, if you called a game trash just because of the things that it managed it to not do well, then that would not make sense. If a game manages to do enough good things over the things that it managed to not do so well in, that is still a good game. All that means is that that game is not perfect. But to a PlayStation fanboy, every Xbox exclusive is trash. It has to be absolutely perfect. And you know what? You know what? Even even if it actually was a perfect game, even if there actually was an Xbox exclusive that was a perfect game, it would still be trash to a PlayStation fanboy because like I said, they cannot determine what is good and what is bad anymore. And that's why everything Xbox does is bad because they don't even know what is good anymore. Because to them, Xbox is not good. So how could they see what is actually good about it if they can't even see Xbox for being something good anymore because of the mental disorder that they have? It's honestly, it's honestly sad, man. It's honestly really sad. But of course, since PlayStation is good, because obviously, like I've said before, the mental disorder that they have only makes them love their preferred console. Everything PlayStation does is good. PlayStation could do something really scummy right now. They could make a game that is loaded with microtransactions, or just Sony could make a bad game. I understand it may sound baffling, but Sony can make a bad game. PlayStation can make a bad game. And everyone who is not mentally afflicted by this mental illness, obviously they would say it's bad because it is bad. No one likes a bad game, obviously. And I'm talking really bad, like Riot to Hell Attribution bad. And guess what? If it comes from PlayStation, to a PlayStation fanboy, it's good. Everything PlayStation does is good. That's not normal. And of course, this proves my point that the mental illness that they have takes away their ability to know what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is bad anymore. And what makes them wrong is these people are addicted to negativity. They're addicted to negativity. If you PlayStation fanboys wanted to spend all your time hating on Xbox, then just hate on it with each other. Don't go around on the internet not only calling Xbox trash, but also calling people who play on Xbox trash. There's not any more I could say, ladies and gentlemen, but PlayStation fanboys, y'all need help. You people need desperate help. That's all I could say, folks. PlayStation fanboys, you guys need a lot of help. You guys need serious fucking help. And one other thing that, gives these fanboys another really bad trade, which is again from their mental illness, is the absolute hypocrisy. And of course, the hypocrisy comes from the mental disorder because again, PlayStation fanboys can no longer determine what is fact, what is logic, what is good, and what is bad anymore. So of course, this also leads to hypocrisy. If Sony was out right now, snatching up game developers left and right, buying some of the best game developers, PlayStation fanboys, that would be their wet dream. They would be partying right now. They would be having a whole fucking party on Twitter and Facebook and every other social media site right now, being like, look at how many studios PlayStation owns now. Now Xbox even more trash. Now we're going to give you more good games. But of course, when Xbox does it, oh, Xbox is trash. How dare they buy studios? How dare they buy studios? Xbox is trash. But when PlayStation does it, of course it's okay. I'm pretty sure I've already said this before, but if Xbox Game Pass was made by Sony, PlayStation fanboys would be praising the shit out of it. they would be talking about nothing but Game Pass if it was something that was on PlayStation. But since it's on Xbox and since they hate Xbox for no fucking reason, of course Game Pass is bad because it's on Xbox. Yeah, not normal. Not fucking normal. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you stuck by till the end and you're still here watching this, thanks a lot. Thanks for listening to this. Thanks for listening to this very depressing video. This video was also pretty hard to make. Done a lot of reshoots, messed up a couple of lines. So, this video took a lot to make. So I really hope you enjoyed, this video. Before I go, quick shout outs go to M64 Bros. And, also another one of my friends here. Let me see if he is online so I could give you all his Twitch. Okay, quick shout out to my friend Daddy Death, aka Reaper. His Twitch is the Crew 666. I will show you guys that so you guys could check him out.